The war was over. At least, that's what the leaders of Earth hoped for many years. Humans had fought a distant alien race called the Xaranth. The battles were tough and long, and both sides lost many. But one thing was clear no one wanted: more fighting. On a calm afternoon, the world was busy with daily life. People in cities, towns, and villages went about their work, unaware that something shocking was about to happen suddenly. Every screen on Earth, from giant billboards to small phones, blinked and changed. The picture of the alien Queen Mara appeared. Her skin was a soft blue, and her eyes shone like stars. Her voice was calm but powerful. "If you want peace," she said, "you must marry me." The message shocked every human watching. The Queen's words were not a demand for war or surrender. Instead, she offered a strange, wild proposal: peace could come only if she married a human. In the busy newsrooms, government offices, and homes, people talked loudly and quickly. How could this be true? Why would the alien queen want to marry a human? What did she hope to gain? Among those hearing this message was Gnome, a quiet but smart diplomat. He worked for the United Earth government and had spent many years studying alien cultures and languages. Gnome was calm but curious. He did not immediately believe the Queen's message was a trick. Something in her eyes seemed sincere. Gnome was called to the government's emergency meeting. The leaders and advisors sat around a large table. The head of the United Earth government, a woman named Sarah, looked worried but hopeful. "No," she said, "this is not a joke. Queen Mara has sent her message directly to us. She wants peace, but on her terms. We need someone to meet her, to understand her better and maybe accept this proposal." Gnome felt his heart beat faster. He had never expected this. Marry an alien queen. It sounded impossible. But if it could end the war, if it could bring peace to Earth, maybe it was worth trying. After a moment of silence, Gnome nodded. "I will go. I want to know why she said this, and I want to try to help." Preparations began quickly. Gnome was given a special ship and a small team of trusted people to support him. He spent days learning about the Xaranth culture, their customs, their history, their language. The Xaranth were very different from humans, but they had feelings, hopes, and fears too. Gnome thought about his family back on Earth. He remembered his mother's smile, his little sister's laughter. He wanted to return to them one day, with good news. On the day of his departure, a crowd gathered at the spaceport. People cheered and held signs that said, "Peace for Earth, and we believe in Gnome." He felt proud but also scared. The ship's engines hummed as it lifted into the sky. Gnome watched Earth grow smaller and smaller behind him. He knew this mission was dangerous not because of weapons or enemies, but because of the unknown. As the ship traveled through space, Gnome thought about Queen Mara. What was she like? Was she kind? Was she strong? Was she lonely in his private cabin? Gnome opened a small book about Xaranth history. He read stories of their brave leaders, their great artists, and their peaceful moments before the war. He saw that the Xaranth were proud of their queen. Suddenly, the ship's communication system beeped. A message from Queen Mara appeared on the screen. "Greetings, Gnome," her voice said softly. "I know you have many questions. So do I. This journey will change both our worlds. I hope we can learn from each other." Gnome felt a strange calm. Maybe this was the start of something new. Maybe peace was possible. The days passed as the ship moved closer to the Xaranth homeworld. Gnome prepared himself to meet the queen, the woman who offered peace through marriage. Gnome knew one thing for sure: nothing would ever be the same again. The stars outside Gnome's window looked like small diamonds on black cloth. The ship moved swiftly through space, taking him closer to the mysterious world of the Xaranth. Gnome's heart was full of questions. What kind of place would he find? What kind of people lived there? And what would Queen Mara really be like? Gnome spent many hours in the ship's library. He read everything he could about the Xaranth. They were a proud people, with tall and graceful bodies covered in soft blue skin. Their world was far from Earth, but they shared many things: family, stories, hope. Even with all he learned, Gnome knew that books could never show the real Xarinth. Only meeting them would tell the full story. One day, as the ship traveled, the communication screen blinked again. Queen Mara's face appeared. "Hello, Gnome," she said with a gentle smile. "I hope your journey is not too hard." Gnome smiled back. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It is peaceful so far, but I still wonder about you and your people." Mara's eyes grew thoughtful. "We have lived in war for a long time. It has tired us all. I want to build a future with peace and friendship. I know it is unusual, but I believe we can find that future together." Gnome nodded. "I want to believe that too, but many humans are afraid. They do not trust the Xarinth after so many years of fighting. That is understandable." Mara said softly, "Trust must be earned, not given." The days passed quickly. Gnome practiced the customs he had learned. He tried to remember the formal greetings and the respectful ways to speak. He hoped that his respect would be noticed. In his quiet moments, Gnome looked out the window. He thought about Earth, his home, and about the millions of people waiting for him to succeed. The weight of hope was heavy, but he did not let it stop him. At night, Gnome sent messages back to Earth. He told them about the journey, about his thoughts, and about the strange feeling that something important was beginning. Meanwhile, far away on the Xarinth homeworld, Queen Mara prepared for his arrival. Her palace was grand and full of light. She walked through long halls, thinking about what would happen next. Some of her advisors whispered that she was being foolish. Marrying a human? It was against tradition. But Mara only smiled. She knew that peace required courage. The Xarinth. People watched the stars, waiting for the ship to arrive. Many were curious, some were nervous, and others were hopeful. Finally, the day came. Gnome's ship entered the orbit of the Xarinth world. Outside the window, he saw a beautiful planet, filled with shining lakes, tall blue trees, and cities that glowed softly in the twilight. The ship landed gently on a smooth platform. Gnome's team gathered their things and prepared to step out. As the doors opened, a group of Xarinth greeted them with calm smiles. They were tall and graceful, their blue skin shimmering in the soft light. A Xarinth named HFYen stepped forward. "Welcome to Xarinth, Gnome. I'm your guide. The Queen awaits." Gnome bowed slightly. "Thank you. I am honored." Together, they moved through the palace gates. The halls were filled with colors Gnome had never seen, shades of blue and purple that glowed like stars. Finally, they reached the great hall. There, seated on a throne of shining crystals, was Queen Mara. She stood and smiled warmly. "Welcome to my home, Gnome." Gnome felt a strange calm as he bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Mara stepped down from her throne and walked toward him. She was tall and elegant, but her eyes showed kindness. "You have traveled far," she said softly. "Yes," Gnome replied, "and I am ready to learn." For hours, they talked. They shared stories of their worlds, their people, and their hopes. Mara spoke of the long years of war and the pain it brought to her people. "I do not want to be a queen who rules through fear," she said. "I want to be a queen who brings peace." Gnome listened carefully. "I want the same for Earth. Peace is our greatest hope." As the sun of the Xarinth world set outside the great windows, Gnome and Mara felt the first spark of understanding. It was a small light, but it grew stronger with every word. When the meeting ended, Gnome was shown to his chambers. He looked out at the alien stars and thought about what lay ahead. He knew the journey had only just begun, but for the first time, hope felt real. Gnome woke up in his new room on the Xarinth palace. Soft light filled the space, glowing from smooth walls made of crystal-like stone. The room was quiet, but Gnome's mind was full of thoughts. Today, he would meet Queen Mara again, this time more closely. The moment he had been waiting for was near. He prepared carefully, choosing the clothes provided by his hosts. The outfit was simple but elegant, made from soft fabric that changed colors slightly with movement. It was unlike anything he had worn on Earth, but it made him feel ready. A knock came at the door. HFYen, the Xarinth guide, entered with a small smile. "The Queen is waiting for you in the garden. Shall we go?" Gnome nodded, following HFYen through the palace halls. The air smelled fresh, like flowers and clean water. They passed bright murals that told stories of Zarenth history of heroes, artists, and leaders who shaped their world. When they reached the garden, Gnome stopped. It was more beautiful than he expected. Tall blue trees stretched toward the sky. Strange flowers with glowing petals bloomed everywhere. In the center, a small pool reflected the two moons shining. Above, and there, sitting by the pool, was Queen Mara. She looked peaceful, yet strong. Her blue skin glowed softly in the moonlight. Her eyes met Gnome's, full of warmth and curiosity. "Good morning, Gnome," she said in a gentle voice. Gnome bowed slightly. "Good morning, Your Majesty. Thank you for inviting me here." Mara smiled. "Please, call me Mara. We are trying to build something new, yes? Something without distance between us." Gnome felt surprised but pleased. The Queen's words were kind and honest. Maybe this meeting would be different from what he had feared. They walked together through the garden, talking quietly. "I have seen much war in my life," Mara said. "I know what fear can do to people, but I also know what hope can do." "Gnome, listen carefully. On Earth, many people still fear the Zarenth. They remember the battles and the losses." Mara nodded. "It will take time. Trust is not easy." Gnome wanted to ask more, but he waited. He watched the way Mara moved, graceful but sure, like a strong tree in the wind. Suddenly, Mara stopped by a tree with soft, glowing leaves. She picked a small flower and handed it to Gnome. "This flower is called Peace's Light," she said. "It only grows where there is hope." Gnome took the flower gently. "It is beautiful." "Like peace," Mara said softly, "fragile but strong." They sat near the pool, the light from the moons reflecting in the water. Gnome felt a strange calm. For the first time, he did not think of Mara as an alien queen. He saw her as a person who wanted a better future. Mara spoke again. "I know my proposal surprised your people. They may think it is strange or even impossible." Gnome smiled. "It is strange, but maybe the most important things in life are strange at first." Mara laughed softly. "Yes, that is wise." Their conversation went on for hours. They shared stories of childhood, hopes for the future, and the small joys that made life special. Gnome told Mara about Earth's oceans, the songs people sing, and the warm sun on summer days. Mara told Gnome about the stars seen from her world, the art of the Zarenth, and the dances that celebrate life. In that quiet garden, two very different worlds began to understand each other. Later, as the moons moved across the sky, Gnome stood up. "Thank you, Mara, for your kindness and your words." Mara stood too. "Thank you, Gnome. This is only the beginning." As Gnome walked back through the palace halls, he thought about the future. There would be challenges, many challenges. But he now knew one thing clearly: the Queen's offer was not just a political game. It was a chance for peace, a chance for hope. Gnome looked out at the night sky filled with stars. Tomorrow, he would learn more about the traditions that bound the Zarenth people. He would prepare for the path ahead. But tonight, he would rest with a heart full of new light. The morning light filled the grand halls of the Zarenth Palace as Gnome prepared for an important day. Today, he would begin the ancient rituals that tested the bond between him and Queen Mara. These traditions were not just about ceremony, they showed trust, honesty, and courage. For the Zarenth, they were the heart of any true connection. Gnome felt nervous. He understood how serious this was. If he failed, peace between their worlds might never come. But if he succeeded, it could open a new chapter for both humans and Zarenth. Vien, the guide, arrived to escort him to the trial chambers. "The rituals will test your spirit, Gnome. But do not worry. Mara believes in you." Gnome nodded, grateful for the support. He stepped through the palace doors, following Vien into a room glowing with soft blue light. The walls were covered with symbols of ancient meaning. In the center stood a small pool of water, clear and calm. "This is the pool of truth," Vien explained. "You and Mara will each drink from it. It shows the honesty of your heart." Gnome looked at the water and felt its coolness even from a distance. He was ready. Moments later, Queen Mara entered, her calm presence filling the room. She smiled gently at Gnome. "Are you ready? I am, Gnome said firmly. They each took a small cup of water from the pool and drank. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. But then, a soft glow surrounded them. The pool's magic tested their honesty. And both hearts were true. Next came the test of courage. Gnome and Mara walked to a chamber filled with beautiful but strange plants. Some glowed softly, others whispered quietly. This was a place where fear could rise easily. The test was simple: walk through without turning back. Gnome took a deep breath and stepped forward. The plants brushed against his skin, but he did not stop. Mara walked beside him, her steady gaze giving him strength. When they reached the other side, both smiled. The test was passed. The final ritual was the most important: the sharing of dreams. In a peaceful room, decorated with soft lights and warm colors, Gnome and Mara sat together. A device was placed between them. It allowed them to share their thoughts and feelings clearly without words. Gnome closed his eyes and saw Mara's dreams. A world without war, where children from both races played together, where stars shone on peaceful skies. Then Mara saw Gnome's dreams, a planet healed from the scars of battle, where people of all kinds lived with respect and hope. They felt each other's hopes and fears deeply. When the sharing ended, Mara opened her eyes and said softly, "Your dreams are strong and true." Gnome smiled back, "And so are yours." But not everyone was happy with these events. Behind the palace walls, some Zarenth leaders whispered doubt. They believed marrying a human was wrong and feared change. On Earth, some people watched the news with suspicion. They worried Gnome might be tricked or that peace was impossible. Gnome knew the path ahead would be difficult, but after the trials, he felt stronger. He had seen Mara's true heart, and he hoped the world could see it too. That evening, as the twin moons rose again, Gnome and Mara met in the garden once more. They spoke quietly about the future. "We have much to prove," Mara said, "not just to our people, but to ourselves." Gnome nodded. "I believe we can. Together, the first steps of trust had been taken. Now, the real journey to peace would begin." Days passed in the shining halls of the Zarenth Palace. Gnome and Mara spent more time together, learning about each other's worlds and dreams. What had started as a formal meeting was slowly becoming a true friendship. Each morning, Gnome would wake to the soft light of the twin moons, feeling a new sense of hope. He no longer saw Mara just as the alien queen who had shocked Earth with her proposal. She was a person with kindness, laughter, and deep strength. One day, Mara invited Gnome to explore the palace gardens again. This time, she wanted to show him something special. "Come," she said, leading him toward a hidden part of the garden. The air smelled sweet with flowers, and colorful birds sang soft songs. They stopped at a small pond filled with glowing water lilies. "This pond is called the Mirror of Truth," Mara explained. "It shows what is hidden deep inside." Gnome looked into the water. At first, he saw only his own reflection. But slowly, the image changed. He saw memories from Earth children, playing in fields, families sharing meals, people helping each other. "It shows what is important to me," Gnome said quietly. Mara smiled. "Yes, and it shows what is important to me too." She touched the water gently. In her own memories appeared Zarenth artists painting, people celebrating with music and dance. Moments of peace before the war. Gnome realized how much they had in common, even if their worlds were very different. As the days passed, Gnome and Mara shared meals, stories, and laughter. Mara taught Gnome about the dances of her people, where every movement told a story. Gnome shared songs from Earth, and sometimes they sang together, their voices blending in the quiet halls. One evening, as they watched the twin moons rise, Mara said softly, "Gnome, when I proposed marriage, I knew it was a big step, but I never imagined how much I would learn from you." Gnome smiled. "I feel the same. You have shown me a new way to see the stars." Their growing bond inspired others too. Some Zarenth who had been uncertain began to watch Gnome with new respect. They saw his kindness and honesty. On Earth, news of their meetings spread. People listened to Gnome's messages, where he spoke of hope and friendship. Slowly, fear began to change into curiosity, yet The road was not without difficulties. Some voices still whispered against the Union, but Gnome and Mara stayed strong, believing in what they were building. One afternoon, while walking in the gardens, Mara stopped and looked at Gnome seriously. "There's something I want to show you," she said. She led him to a small room filled with beautiful objects, paintings, sculptures, and symbols of the Zarenth's history. "This is our story room," Mara explained. "Here, we remember who we are." Gnome looked closely at a painting showing a great battle from long ago. The colors were dark and heavy. He felt the sadness in the image. Mara touched his arm gently. "Our history is full of pain, but also hope. We must learn from both." Gnome nodded. "I want to help make that hope stronger." That night, Gnome wrote a message to Earth. He spoke of the beauty of Zarenth culture and the kindness of Queen Mara. He told people that peace was not just a dream but something real. They could build together. As he finished, Gnome felt a deep calm. The bond between him and Mara was more than a proposal. It was a bridge, a path for two worlds to come together. Tomorrow, their journey would continue, with new challenges and new hopes. But for now, Gnome allowed himself to believe in a future where peace was possible. Gnome and Mara's growing friendship inspired many on both worlds. The idea of peace, once just a fragile hope, began to spread like warm sunlight. Yet, not everyone welcomed this change. Some voices in the shadows still whispered doubts and fears. One morning, Gnome was in the palace when Vien hurried to find him. "Gnome, there's trouble," Vien said quietly but urgently. "Some Zarenth leaders who oppose the peace are planning something. They want to stop the marriage and the peace it promises." Gnome felt a chill run through him. "What kind of trouble?" he asked. "They have gathered a group to attack one of our cities," Vien explained. "If they succeed, it could start a new war." Gnome's mind raced. He knew this was the moment that would test everything they had built. He needed to act quickly. He found Mara in her private chamber. She was calm but serious. "We cannot let this happen," Gnome said. "If the city falls, peace will be impossible." Mara nodded. "We must protect our people and show the world that we are united, together." They called for a meeting with their trusted advisors from both humans and Zarenth. The room was filled with quiet determination. "We will send a team to help defend the city," Mara said firmly. "Gnome, you will lead the human support," Gnome agreed. He gathered a small group of skilled humans and Zarenth volunteers. They trained quickly, preparing to work together. As they traveled to the city, Gnome felt a mix of fear and hope. The attack would be dangerous, but it was also a chance to prove that unity was stronger than hate. When they arrived, the city was alive with tension. People hurried through the streets, preparing defenses. Gnome and Mara's team worked side by side with the city's leaders. The opposing group arrived quietly, but was surprised to see the combined forces waiting. Gnome stepped forward and spoke loudly. "We do not want war. We want peace. Please, listen to us." For a moment, there was silence. Then, a young Zarenth leader stepped forward from the opposing group. His eyes were hard, but no one could see doubt behind them. "We have lost much," the leader said. "How can we trust peace after all this?" Pain Gnome nodded. "I understand, but peace is built step by step. We can heal together." Mara joined him, her voice calm and strong. "I ask you to see the future, not the past. Join us in making a world where all can live without fear." Slowly, the leader lowered his weapon. Others followed. The attack ended without a fight. The city's people cheered. Humans and Zarenth embraced as friends. News of this event spread quickly. It was a moment that showed the power of trust and cooperation. Back in the palace, Gnome and Mara felt a deep relief. They had faced a great test and passed. "We have shown the strength of unity," Mara said softly. Gnome smiled. "And we will continue to build peace, no matter the challenges, together." They looked toward the stars, knowing their journey was far from over. But now, the light of hope burned brighter than ever. The day had finally come. The palace was alive with light and music, a celebration unlike any other in the history of two worlds. People from Earth and Zarenth gathered together, their faces filled with hope and joy. Today, Gnome and Mara would united marriage not just as a promise between two people, but as a symbol of peace and friendship for all. Gnome stood quietly in his room, dressed in elegant clothes gifted by the Zarenth artisans. The fabric shimmered gently, reflecting the soft colors of the twin moons outside his window. His heart beat with a mixture of excitement and calm. This day marked a new beginning not just for him, but for everyone outside the palace halls. Were decorated with flowers and lights. The gardens, where Gnome and Mara had first talked, were filled with laughter and music. The air smelled sweet, a mix of Earth's bright flowers and the exotic scents of the Zarenth world. Vian, the faithful guide, came to bring Gnome to the great hall. Everything is ready, Vian said with a smile. People from both worlds have come to witness this moment. Gnome nodded, stepping forward with steady steps. He thought of the long journey he had taken from the first message of the Queen's wild proposal, through trials and challenges, to this bright moment. At the same time, Mara prepared in her chambers. She looked strong and peaceful, her eyes shining with hope. For years, she had dreamed of peace and friendship between her people and humans. Today, that dream was becoming real. The ceremony began under the glowing sky. The great hall was filled with leaders, citizens, and friends from both worlds. The light reflected softly from the walls, creating a magical atmosphere. Mara stepped forward first. She walked with grace and confidence, her presence filling the room. When Gnome saw her, his heart felt full. This was no longer just an alien queen. She was a partner, a friend, and a symbol of hope. Gnome stepped forward to meet her. Their eyes met, and in that moment, they understood the meaning of this union. It was not about power or rules. It was about two worlds choosing peace. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. They spoke words of promise not just to each other, but to all who watched. They promised to work for understanding, respect, and kindness. They promised to build a future where differences were celebrated, not feared. When the ceremony ended, the crowd cheered loudly. People from Earth and Zarenth joined hands, feeling a joy that was new and bright. After the ceremony, Gnome and Mara walked through the gardens. The twin moons shone above, and the stars sparkled like 1,000 dreams. We have come far, Mara said softly, but this is only the beginning. Gnome smiled. Yes, a new era starts today. Together, they looked toward the future, a future where humans and Zarenth would share knowledge, culture, and friendship, where children of both worlds would play under the same stars. The road ahead would have challenges, but Gnome and Mara knew they would face them together. For the first time in many years, peace was real. And with peace, hope would grow forever.